The Adventure Jogger, a podcast about trail and ultra running. Meet fascinating runners from the front, middle, and back of the pack, sharing inspiring and funny stories about life and running. Running should be fun, and so should running podcasts. I'm your host, Stephen Kornhaus, and this is The Adventure Jogger. Well, on today's episode of the Adventure Jogger podcast, I've got my co-host here, Valen, again, and we're happy to talk with Priscilla Buchanan from Colorado Springs. She's a runner who's qualified for Boston. She's run Pikes Peak Ascent and Marathon. She doubled 1 year as well, which we'll talk about for sure. But happy to talk to Priscilla. So welcome to the Adventure Jogger podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, excited to chat, learn a little bit about you. And I know my wife has known you for a little bit through running clubs and all, but just curious to kind of hear your story. So let's start there, Priscilla, and just kind of tell us, how did you get into running? How did you find the sport?
Yeah, when you talk about running with non-runners, everyone's like, I hate running, right? And I always tell them, like, once you get over that 6-mile hump, and then you can find the joy in it. It's like you actually get to breathe after that 6 miles, is my theory. Um, but I started running in 2022. So just a few years ago. Was not an athlete before, like at all. Like I remember in college, I one time was running beside my friend who was playing tennis, and she ran for like 2 miles straight, and I was like, "How did you do that? Like you ran the whole thing for 2 miles. You didn't walk." And I was struggling with 1 mile. But I kind of started running, kind of like a lot of women, where you're like after having babies and you're trying to lose that baby weight, and then there was this one day, though, I went on like a light jog, trying to burn the calories. And I walked back into the house and I still felt frustrated. And I was like, this just isn't just doing it just to lose weight. I want to see what else there is. So I text a friend. I was like, I want to sign up for a race. So I signed up for my very first race. It was the Super Bowl half marathon.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a short training, only like 6 weeks away, but I had like 5 miles under my base, and I learned a lot from that. Had a high heart rate through it all, but I pulled through with grit. Looking back, I'm not sure how I did that. But that qualified me for the Pikes Peak Ascent. And my friend does it every year. So I was like, well, that sounds like a cool one to do. So I raced the Pikes Peak Ascent. I hit my goal again. I was kind of on this high, like I hit my goal, I hit my goal. And then after doing the Pikes Peak Ascent, she was like, well, I guess I'm going to double. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to do it. Yeah, she did. Like she stayed with me for my first race, literally by my side. And like I remember towards the end of my first race, she was like, you see green over there, the guy in the green shirt? She was like, clip him out. So like the last 2 miles, she was like pushing me, and it was great.
Miles up Pikes Peak Ascent?
No, for my very first race, the Super Bowl half. Yeah, she was like pushing me to like kind of finish strong kind of thing. And it was great. So I did push through and I passed people towards the end. But the same with the Pikes Peak Ascent. I was hoping to run it in under 4.5 hours, and I did it in 4:25. So once again, like just barely made the cutoff, but of what I wanted. Same for the Pikes Peak double. I was really happy with that race. But that's kind of how I got into running. It's just all of that.
So you've
I
only
did
been
look,
for like 3 years. 2022 is like,
yeah.
wow, that's pretty impressive. We said in the intro, you qualified for Boston already. You've done Pikes Peak, I think 3 times now, the ascent, plus the
Yeah.
double.
Uh-huh.
And those are some hard races for somebody who's been running for 2.5, 3 years. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, thought you had been running for a lot longer, if I'm being honest. Like, do you remember the first time we met? Which I think this is the first time we met. I could be wrong because group runs always have a lot of people. But the first time I remember meeting you was like one of those coffee runs in the morning, like with SRT. And I was running like nice and slow along with the group, and Priscilla comes by us running so fast with the double stroller.
Oh,
And the person that was like leading it, she's like, "Oh, that's just Priscilla. She's doing intervals." And I was like, "Are you kidding
With a
me?"
double
With a
stroller.
double
Yeah.
stroller just dusting us. And I was like, "That was my first meeting of Priscilla." I just
Yeah.
would assume that you were just like a hardcore runner, like all the time.
No, it's been a very short and crash and burn kind of learning course to running since I've done a lot of the bigger ones, even from like pushing the double stroller, to just, like running ultra marathons and such. It's a different thing and learning how to fuel quickly and the different injuries from like IT band pain. I'm like, what is that pain? This is
Yeah.
a new one. But like you don't really get those if you're like running little 5Ks. But yeah, I've learned a lot in 3 years.
I think IT band is like a rite of passage for a runner. I don't think there's a single runner out there that has not had IT pain when they first started at some point. Like that's just,
Yeah.
it's like a rite of passage.
That's what happened. That's what happened. Had we run since I ran No Business? I think we ran together since I crashed and burned that race. The last
I
one.
think we did like a short walk run thing.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was I was grounded by IT pain. And I've
Yeah.
never had that before. Ever.
Oh, there's your rite of passage.
I remember mine was I think after it was a 5K, but I was running downhill incredibly fast
Mm.
in Asheville, North Carolina. Then after that, I had like horrible IT pain.
Yeah.
Dealt with that. So when you first started, were you like solely on the roads? Because obviously you switched over to trail at some point to do the Pikes Peak ascent
Yeah.
first year.
I switched over pretty quickly. I did, I guess my second road race was the Revel Mount Charleston.
Okay,
I
I'm
think
not.
that's my second one. Yeah, Revel Mount Charleston's where I BQ'd.
Okay.
But the Super Bowl half was the first road race, road trail. I mean, that trail has a little bit of
Yeah.
trail, dirt road. But I switched over pretty quickly. And training for the Pikes Peak double was a lot of time in the mountains
So
on the weekends.
when you qualified for Boston, that must have been, was that last year? 24.
No, just recently, like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
She did that
okay.
race.
What race was that in that you qualified? So it was the Revel. What was it
Revel
called?
Mount Charleston?
Revel Mount Tribe. Is that here in the
Mhm.
Colorado?
No, Las Vegas.
Oh, Las Vegas. Oh,
Yeah, it was also my first like out of town race too.
oh,
Everything I've done has been local outside of that one.
okay.
Oh, we need to get you traveling.
It's expensive.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well, in 22, then when you started, you did your first Super Bowl half, which obviously that's on Super Bowl Sunday. That's why it's called Super Bowl half. But when did you like first run on trail? Because the Pikes Peak Ascent, let's see, in 2022, was that still, had they already moved it to September in that
Yep.
year? Okay.
Yep, that was their first year.
In September. Okay. So when did you first like run on trail then, leading up to that?
I think I took like a month-ish off, maybe not like fully, but yeah, in May I started hitting the trails. Yeah,
Okay.
around
Wow. So May.
yeah.
And you were
Sup-
just kind of training yourself, doing what you thought, or did you have a plan you were following, or how did you train for that for Pikes Peak?
I followed a marathon training plan and
Okay.
kind of just got more of time on my feet. Not a lot of no speed work really. I didn't do speed work for the Pikes Peak Ascent or the Pikes Peak Double. A lot of that. So Pikes Peak Double, I followed like a ultra training plan,
Okay.
just like 4 hours on my feet up in the mountains or 6 hours, that kind of thing.
The kids are supposed to be in bed, but here you are. Yours are very quiet.
Yeah, I only have one right now. One's in bed, the other one's at gymnastics. So
Oh,
I
okay.
only have 50% of trouble.
Well, that's okay. So I'm really surprised, but you tell me you've only been running since 2022. You just are such a badass runner.
After I started running, it quickly became something for me. So like just being able to like sign up for a race and reach that goal
Uh-huh.
as like a mom, we don't do much for ourselves,
Yeah.
literally just for ourselves. So that's kind of got the ball rolling as like races are for me. Training, running is for me. And most moms, quite often, we lose ourselves in being a mom and a wife. And like, if you ask her, like a mom, like, what do you do for yourself? Like,
Mhm.
she can't really give out much like maybe read a little bit. I used to enjoy reading. I used to enjoy this. But it's like, well, what do you do now then? It's like, well, I don't have time for any of this. So when you run, you literally just leave all that behind when you walk out the door. So that's where I found kind of my joy in doing something for myself.
So I've always struggled with like mom guilt, like because the kids are always like at my leg when they were little. Like when I'm going out the door, like, why do you have to go running? And as they get older, sometimes they get a little snotty about it. But like, how do you manage that like I don't know.
Mom guilt?
Mom guilt, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't have a ton of it. I have a little bit of more of I feel like I could be spending more time with them. I guess that is mom guilt. So when I first started though, I pushed the stroller.
Right.
So I mean they were with me and my daughter is a pretty big cheerleader. There was one time I pushed her. My son stayed home with my husband, but Emmy wanted to come with me. So I pushed her when she was 6 years old, I think, last year. And nearly for like the full 45 minutes I was running with her, she just kept cheering me on. She said, go, mommy, you can do this, you can do this. And I love that she got to see me do something hard.
Yeah,
And
that's awesome.
That's awesome. That's so great
so,
to have kids that are cheerleaders.
yeah, my son is less tolerant to it. He's a little bit younger. Um,
Yeah. You said you have a 4 and 7-year-old, is that right?
4 and 7 right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I started running, they were like I guess under 2. He was under 2 and she was under 5. Yeah, they're 3 years apart.
Goodness, under
How much
2.
poundage are you pushing in this double stroller then?
I relinquished the double stroller this year. Like I gave up on that. Because my daughter's good enough to ride her bike along with me. Like she's done 5 miles. Like, we go together. I'll run and she bikes alongside me.
That's awesome.
But I was pushing them up until this past year. I
Oh,
still have the single, if needed, but yeah, that's how I started.
well, when you started running when one of them was under 2, another one was 5. How did you like fit training into mom life? Other than pushing the stroller with you, but I mean, obviously, if you're going on trail runs, training for Pikes Peak, you're not pushing a stroller on trail. So, I mean, how did you fit that in?
I did the stroller during the week, and on Saturdays I would hit the trail.
Okay, and so
So
like your
that's
husband,
how I
the kids, and you'd be out running for a couple hours, and
yeah.
okay, well, that's good. That's now is your husband? Is he obviously if he's watching the kids for you? Is he as supportive of your running? Does he understand why you do it? And
Yeah, my husband's like my best friend. Um, like I don't think I would have said that before it was like, I don't know, 5 years ago when you're newly married, he's like, "Oh, he's my husband." But as our marriage has grown, it's like, he's also like my best friend.
yeah,
But he supported me. So when we first started, I guess the first 2 years of running, it was just my thing. He kind of casually ran here and there, but he takes the kids anytime. And I think in our view, it's like it's not he's helping me with the children, like he contributed to them. Their creation. So it's just time he gets to spend with the kids. When
yeah,
I was training for the Pikes Peak double, I spent a lot of time in the mountains. And he would take the kids Friday camping, Friday night, Saturday night, and come back.
nice.
So it's like a thing he did, like spending time with the kids, because I was running Saturday and Sunday up in the mountains. So
Nice. So when you were training for, I guess, the double, were you primarily training on like bar trail or were you getting out just going all over kind of the front range?
I did some 14ers, but since I was so new to running, I only did like trails that friends had taken me on, and I kind of stayed on the safer side. Just I did do bar trail a lot, like getting up to A-frame.
Yeah.
I did the incline as well. I did do a couple of 14ers because my running friend that ran with me on that first race, she was doing the double as well. She didn't train as much as I did. I was kind of this new, like, unsure. I'm like, I gotta just really hit the mileage, kind of keeping it safe, making sure I train well. So I was out there more than she was. But we did some 14ers, like Mount Missouri and such, to get that vert gain.
Yeah.
And then I remember my longest run was 6.5 hours on bar trail.
Oh, wow.
That was on Sunday. The day before, I had done 3 inclines. So, like, up the incline, down bar, and looped 3 times.
You went down bar. You did the whole loop. You didn't go down.
I was too scared to come down the incline for the longest time until this. I
So
was too
that's
scared.
like, if you did 3 loops of that, that was probably what, about 12-ish miles and probably 6,000 feet of gain or more.
Yeah, it took me, I think, 4.5 hours or something.
Wow.
And then I went and did bar the next day.
That's pretty dang impressive. That's very impressive.
What's your incline PB?
36 minutes.
Oh, wow. That's really good.
I think she'd give you a run for your money.
Well, now she beat me now. Like, since surgery, I'm lucky to get under, like, get 45. I'm still
45 was
struggling.
a good time though.
I'm still struggling. I used to be down in the low 30s, but now I can't hang with that.
Each 30, like 36 minutes, 35 minutes, it's so hard to shave off that time. Like, in my opinion, it's like you're trying to shave off 36 and you're like, it was 36:20. And you're like, it's just,
Right. It's tough. So, like, I guess I need to explain for people that are listening that may not know. So when we're talking about the Pikes Peak Double, we're talking about the Pikes Peak Ascent, which is on a Saturday, and that's a half marathon up bar trail, and that's close to 8,000 feet of elevation gain. I think it's like 7,800 feet, somewhere around that range.
and it's 13.3 miles.
Yeah, so it's 13. Exactly. So it's longer than a half marathon.
At that point one, you're like, man, this should be done by.
Looking at my watch, I'm like, where's that finish line? Like, where's that finish line?
Yeah, but then the next day, Sunday, she went out and ran the Pikes Peak Marathon again, that same 13.3 miles up and almost 8,000 feet of elevation gain again, and then back down that same. So, like, over a weekend, you're talking 15,000, almost 16,000 feet of elevation gain.
Yeah.
And what would that be? 39 miles or something like that? That's wow.
Most steps.
We were already living here then.
Yeah, because you ran the
Yeah.
double in, was it 23 you did the double?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because we were
2020.
Facebook friends. Because I remember seeing the pictures and going, "Oh, that was so impressive."
Yeah. I did well on that race. I was really happy with the results. With that training, I ended up coming in 4th for women doubling.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so I finished really strong. Like, I wasn't sure where I would land, being so new to running, but I mean, finishing the double in general is incredible. Like, it doesn't matter where you land. I think there was only like 25 women that finished the double that year.
Wow.
So it was like not a high percentage of women that will double. But I remember looking and I was like, I came in 4th, and I was like only like 2 minutes from coming in 3rd. But they don't give a trophy for that or anything. It was just like, that was a good race. You get a T-shirt though.
Even the ascent, according to Ultra Sign Up, that was your fastest one so far of the 3 you've done, was when you doubled. It was a 4:13. And
Yeah.
then the next day you did the marathon in a 7:21, which is still very impressive. Very impressive. What? That's
Oh, okay.
the double is it's not shown on there. Each
Oh, I see.
individual one is shown on here. So
He's looking at your Ultra signups.
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
so that's yeah. I mean, what was your recovery like from that? I mean, that amount of elevation gain in a 2-day period, that downhill pounding coming down bar trail had to been kind of rough.
Yeah. I so that race, like when I finished and I crossed the finish line, like I was just bawling. I was so exhausted. And like if you get into the nitty-gritty of like ultra running, it's like it's fun from like you get to snack on ultra running, like the vertical gain. But I remember at like bar camp, I was like, oh, I really have to pee, like coming down. And I was like, but if I pee and I squat, I'm not getting back up. So I was like, well, I can't squat, so therefore I'm going to keep running. So I finished the last 6 miles, and the last mile though, I really had to pee, but I couldn't like squat down. It's like, this is the last mile. So I remember I just lost control of my bladder, and I just started like slowly leaking, and I crossed that finish line. But it was a really, really good race. But my O2 stats were pretty low. after that. So they put me on oxygen for like 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it was great. Once again, I'm a new runner. So I thought I could go 2 weeks later and run an ultra after that. Very, very, very stupid looking back. I even ran 16 miles in between finishing the Pikes Peak double and running my first ultra. It was the Above the Clouds 50K.
Yeah.
And that race is what like did me in. So like I finished on this high, and then I got during the Woodland Park 50K, my feet started hurting really bad. And I was like, what is this? And like 10 miles in, so I didn't recover, I should say. I did not recover after the Pikes
Yeah.
level. I thought I could go and run this ultra after that. And later on discovered that was plantar fasciitis.
Oh, no.
And that lingered for like a year. It was really, really bad. Like after the Above the Clouds 50K, that night, I remember needing to go pee in the middle of the night, but my feet hurt so bad, I had to crawl to the potty. I like couldn't walk on my feet. So I obviously discovered OOFOS slippers really quickly. Those are a lifesaver, and I wear them all the time now.
So was it PF in both feet or just one?
Yeah.
Oh
Both
my
feet.
gosh, you got both at once. Wow. That's brutal.
Yeah, but I finished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you finished pretty decently too. I think it was you were like 57th overall at that race, which I don't know how big it
Yeah.
was, but that's pretty good. You know, especially
Yeah.
here in Colorado, there's some pretty stout runners that hit these 50Ks locally.
I think I remember that year the gal that got first place wasn't even from here. She was like from North Carolina or something. I was like, what is this? Like, yeah, but she was really strong.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, what was that first experience like in your ultra marathon? Because I mean, you did the Pikes Peak double, which is essentially running a ton of miles over 2 days. But for one race, this was your first ultra. So what did that feel like? I mean, obviously you're probably pretty darn tired from Pikes Peak, I imagine. But
Yeah.
how did it feel doing it?
It wasn't a good race for me. It was kind of the start of a long year with double plantar fasciitis and other issues. So like compensating, I learned a lot from like different. Um, it wasn't a good race. And looking back, I learned a lot though during it. Like, just to take my time. You can't start off strong, and it's taken me literally over a year and a half to learn to not start off too strong.
Yeah.
But during that race, I thought I could just keep going, kind of riding this high. But I definitely crashed really bad. So like 10 miles in, everything just started to really hurt. And I remember that was the first time I started crying too. I've never cried. I mean, I've done all 4 races, but I started crying a little bit, like mile 20. Like, like what am I doing right now? I'm in so much pain. But I still finished, even from things like the top of my foot was bruised because my shoes were laced too tight and like all the issues that you could have. But it was okay. Like I think every race I learn, and I'm still learning, from like road racing to trail racing. There's so much to learn out there.
Yeah, that's definitely it's something like even I've been ultra running now for 7 years, I guess, and I still learn something in every race, every training cycle, training block. I always learn something new, and I'm sure Valen does as well. And I imagine.
What was the favorite thing you ate at that 50K?
I didn't eat very much. I should have probably. There was okay, no, they did make like some it was like taco something, like around mile 10. They had a whole setup, but I was so like, I need a race. I need a race. I was just in a rush. I was in a rush during that race, and I didn't race well for that one.
Okay. All right. And that who puts on that race? Do you know the company that does that? Was that Mad Moose?
No, not Maximus. Revnet.
RevNet, yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. And then, so you dealt with PF and double PF for about a year. How did you like? What did you find was the biggest thing that worked for you to get over that? Because there's a lot of people out there that struggle with PF for years,
Yeah.
kind of continuously comes back. Like, what's worked for you the best?
I do know everyone's different. Where it hurts on your foot is a big
Yeah.
thing. I did dry needling. That did help. And I was kind of surprised. What really took it almost completely away was changing my shoe size as well as getting shoe inserts. And it was just cheap $20 shoe inserts I got on Amazon. I kind of alternate. I'll put them in though for a little while and I'll take them out because I realized by keeping them in too long, I would get like Achilles tendonitis. It's almost like
Okay.
the elevation or the top of my foot. I needed to like as still I'm learning so much. I could be saying something one day, you could ignore it because probably in a week I'll learn something different and completely change my mind. Um, but yeah, the shoe insert. I think I was wearing too big of a shoe size for like road stuff.
Mm.
But I went down half a size and that helped. I think where my foot wasn't like moving. So my left foot measures 8, my right foot measures 7.5. So I for most of my runs I was wearing size 9, which make like 8, 8.5, 9. There's room to for I think that's it was okay for like coming down the trails, so my toe wouldn't hit the front. But for
Yeah.
around the road, it's a theory though. You could ask me here in 6 months and I'll completely change my mind. But my theory is that my foot was moving too much in my shoe, so I was like gripping. Um, but the shoe inserts did help.
Okay.
I was really surprised it helped that much.
What shoes were you wearing? Like what brand?
Mostly Topo.
Topo. Okay. Were those the zero drop ones? Or
No 5 millimeter drop.
5 millimeter? Okay.
Mhm,
Yeah. So you had that wide toe box. Yeah. I love some
mhm.
topos. So
That was the first conversation we had after that run. I remember now. I was like, "Oh, Tovos," and she's like,
Yeah,
"Tovos."
yeah, yeah.
interesting. Okay. They have a really cool trail shoe I'm excited about coming out this year. The Topo Vista.
Have
Looks
you seen their new high stack shoe?
That's the one I'm talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Vista?
well, the one I have, not the high stack,
Oh, for road?
the
What are
road
you talking-
shoe.
Oh,
The
that's not high stack. That's
well, it's high cushion.
is
The
it the
Spectre.
Ultra Fly? Oh,
The
Spectre.
Spectre.
Yeah, Spectre 2, I think.
Okay, I've heard of Spectre.
It's more cush. It's not very,
Yeah,
but it's still
yeah,
firm. It's still like Topo firm, but it's more cushy.
yeah,
I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite shoes now.
yeah, yeah. Topos, I really enjoy the Topos. After I got plantar fasciitis, I was like, okay, maybe it's the shoe issue. Like, I went through so many different brands. It's kind of sad how many different shoes, but I was like, I loved running so much. I'm like, I just want to figure this out.
Yeah.
Like when you have plantar fasciitis and it hurts so bad to run, it just takes the joy out of it, like kind of
Yeah.
thing. But I back to for most of my training for the Boston qualifier race, that one I wore topos for the most part.
Really? Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay.
The
Now,
road
No,
ones.
nope, no super ultra super shoes.
No, but there were so many during Mount Charleston. Like I would hear this person like approaching me, and I turn around and be like, "You are clomping hard," and I'm like, "Oh, it's your shoes." Like, what is that? But there was a lot of them.
oh yeah, super shoes
Yeah,
are everybody just about has those on now in road races, marathons, half marathons, all of them.
Well,
yeah,
I had gotten way back. We would lived in this place where they'd have like restock shoes, like where they'd to be something wrong with them and they stock, and so they'll sell them super cheap. But I got some Hoka
Oh
Tecton.
no. The original Hoka Carbon
Oh yeah,
Carbon X.
the Hoka
yeah.
Carbon X for $20.
Wow.
The 50K in them, and I didn't wear them after that ever again.
They're like, no, no, no.
I was like, these aren't that impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what at so that race you just did was a couple weeks ago, you said, right? The one where you PQ'd? Okay.
Yep.
In Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So was that a pretty flat course, I imagine, if it's a BQ qualifier? Pretty darn flat?
Downhill, actually.
Downhill. Wow.
Downhill. Yeah. Yeah. So Revel races are known for their downhill ones. There's even one here in Colorado. I think up north,
The slacker?
but no, not the Slacker.
No.
I forget what it's called, but that's what the Revel races are known for is for
Okay.
downhill. They have one in California, Las Vegas, here in Colorado, but this one had you lost about 5,000 feet. And the total there is a little bit of hill. We gained like 200 feet though, like nothing.
That's significant downhill.
Yes. I will say though, like after the beginning part, like after the first, I don't know, 5 or 6 miles, it kind of just feels like a gradual downhill Just ever so slightly. Like, you wouldn't wanna run up it for speed work kinda thing, but it's just ever so slightly gradual downhill.
Okay.
Hmm.
Huh.
Um, but it was a good race. Yeah.
So what was your time there?
3 hours, 22 minutes, and 29 seconds.
Wow. Now, what is the BQ range or what do you have to get to BQ for your age group?
Yeah, so they just made it 5 minutes harder for next year. So my old time would have been 3 hours and 35 minutes because I will be 35 years old when I run Boston. But with the new times, because everyone, you could qualify for it, but you still needed a buffer
Yeah.
because there's just so many people applying. My time was 3 hours and 30 minutes is what I needed to qualify to say I BQ'd.
Okay.
Um, but I ran it with 7.5 minute buffer.
So 322 is what you said, right? Okay. Yeah, because
Is that a comfortable buffer?
yeah, is that a good buffer? I don't know. Is that
We think so. So the reason they made everything 5 minutes faster is because for I think 2024, if I'm accurate, you needed a 6 minute and 51 second buffer.
oh
So
wow.
it's like you could qualify and you still needed just nearly 7 minutes of a buffer, which is just seems kind of ridiculous, you know?
It-
You're like, I qualified, but I still needed to run 7 minutes faster than my qualifying time.
Why
Hmm.
not just like lower the qualifying times?
Yeah, so that's what they did. They lowered it. Yeah. So we'll see what happens and see did everyone just get faster? But I have 7.5 minutes, so I'm pretty confident I could actually truly run it.
Nice. Now, when will you find out? Like, when is the lottery or when do
I
they
think
announce?
September.
Okay.
I never thought I would want to run Boston. That was never a goal. My goal really, because I had so many poor races after my first ultra, that I just wanted to race really well, like finish well. I didn't want to crash and burn after mile 20. I really wanted to continue to pass people, kind of like what I did on my very first race. Is I finished well and finished strong.
Yeah.
Um, like racing smart. Like it's a marathon, you can't sprint it. So that was my goal, is to race well. I knew I could get under 4 hours. I never believed in myself that I could do that fast because it ended up being a 7:43 plate pace.
Yeah, that's a good pace. That's really good.
Yeah, yeah. My calves were definitely sore the next day, though. Downhill, they will get you.
Oh
They will
yeah.
get you.
Yeah, that would be rough. Yeah. How
Yeah.
about the IT band? Did that flare up at all with the downhill?
It didn't. I got smarter. I'm slowly learning. I did weight training. I learned to really lift the weights, squats, lunges, and such. So I barely had any IT band issues for this training.
Now, when you're lifting weights, are you lifting heavy or are you lifting like high reps, low weight or low reps, high weight?
I did both. When I trained at the gym on my own, it was heavy weights. But then I would also do a class at the gym. It's called Body Pump, Les Mills Body Pump, and I did both. So the Les Mills is like lightweight but quick reps, right? But
Yeah. So do you have a coach now for either running or strength or anything, or are you still just following a plan?
no, so this last plan, I actually followed my friend's plan. She created it. She's
Nice.
this big researcher, Melissa Dibbins, and you can talk to her. And I tease her a lot. If you run with her, she just talks the whole time.
Sure.
I absolutely adore her. It's very, very true, and she will admit it. She talks, which is completely fine because I need oxygen when I run, so I can breathe while she talks. But she created this training plan. Um, had a ton of speed work in it, even on long runs sometimes. It would be like run 12 miles easy and then 4 miles progressing to half marathon pace,
Nice.
like for the speed work kind of thing. So that's what I followed this time around, was her training plan. Along, she had like some weight stuff throughout as well.
Okay. Nice. So what do you have on the calendar the rest of this year? Are you doing Pikes Peak Ascent again or the double or one of the two races?
I don't know. I'm kind of jealous of people that have races on their training plan. I finally decided, I realized I want to do the Leadville Marathon, but it's full. So I'm on a wait list.
How far down are
Asked,
you
I
on
don't
the wait
know.
list?
She said to ask in a month. So
Okay.
we'll see. I figured I could kind of run. I mean, train right now like I'm going to do it. I'd be kind of sad that I don't if I don't get in, but because I really don't know what else to do. I don't really care for little races, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
but maybe I should. I thought about doing the Garden of the God 10 miler, but that just seems like a small one to me too. It's still a
Yeah.
good race. The Leadville Marathon is just enticing to me right now. My husband's going to do it.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. It's a
Yeah.
fun race. I did that in
Yeah.
23. Yeah,
Okay.
really.
Did all of them
I
that year.
yeah, I did the marathon, the 50 miler, and the 100 miler. I didn't do all of them. I didn't do the lead man, but
Oh,
So you got in the lottery for the 100 miler? That's cool.
mistake.
I did not get in the lottery, but I had somebody who watches my YouTube channel contacted me and donated their volunteer hours to me, and so then that put me in, and they because I missed the original lottery, but then he had emailed the race director and said, "Hey, I'm actually donating my hours to him," and so they put me in the race. So
That's
I got very lucky. But yeah, I know the marathon is that's a fun race. It's very runnable. Like the whole thing is incredibly runnable.
yeah.
There's a couple of places where it's really steep climbing, but not very technical, like just easy fire roads mostly that I wouldn't say easy, but they're fire roads that are,
Mhm.
probably up to 10-12% grade at times. But it's pretty. It's
Yeah.
pretty. When I did it, it was snowy though. There was a lot of snow.
I didn't go with that race with you.
So your husband's doing it this year though. That's pretty cool. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully you get in and can do it together.
Who's
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Huh?
who'd win?
I think
Would-
I don't want I mean, he has that testosterone. I think me.
Nice.
I know. He says I discredit him by saying it's all his testosterone. I'm like, well, I, I, I think me. This is only his second race. His first race it was nuts. Like you think I'm nuts, he's nuts. He did a 50 miler
Oh,
for his
awesome.
first race.
Okay.
for his very first race. I'm like, you could start with like a 50K, like. But he did a 50 miler and he finished it pretty well, about 12 and a half minute pace.
Nice.
Um, so not bad for like he didn't DNF, like I feel like
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I should go do a 50 miler. I don't know. But
I
that
don't
sounds
know.
daunting to me.
You did the double Pikes Peak. I tried to talk her to doing a 100 mile, and she's like, "No." I'm like, "You're undervaluing yourself. You can totally do it."
Yeah, if you can do the double Pikes Peak in a weekend, you can totally go run a 50 miler or 100K, and you could probably do a 100 miler as well.
100 miler sounds nasty.
Well, do you have any? I mean, you did the 150K, but do you have other aspirations to do more ultra marathons?
I do. I'm not sure which ones yet. I want it to be a fun one, a beautiful one. But timing too. So like my husband's training right now, so I don't want to try to like letting him do that a little bit. But we
Yeah.
did talk about it. If I did want to do something, we would just figure out the long runs for the weekends and kind of swap a little bit. So he's pretty supportive if I decide to do something. I'm just not sure what yet. I guess I'm holding out for the Leadville Marathon and go from there. I did think about maybe not doubling, but like maybe doing the ascent, but just going for time, like really trying to like get a really good time.
Nice.
Now that I have know my body a little bit more well about how to fuel and heart rate, I've learned a lot about like your running lactate threshold. I did not know about that. Even just this past training cycle, we did the Yasso 800s. I had no idea what that was. And I was like, Yasso who? So I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you said a really good times. Like, what is a really good time to you for the ascent?
Um, Under 4 hours is, I think, really solid for anyone.
Yeah.
I would hope to be even faster than that. I don't know what is realistic. I would probably just say like under 4 hours and hope for even way better.
So when you did it all 3 years, when you got up to, above tree line where you're, 12,000 feet up, were you able to run up there still, or was that more of a hike at that point?
A little bit of running. And actually my best time was when I doubled. We could have even gotten better, but there was this guy that just wouldn't. It was like the last mile, maybe even longer. I even remember this guy in green. He would not pull over to let us pass,
Oh, wow.
kind of thing. And it was literally a Congo line behind him at the end. And so it was a little frustrating. But I do know he held us back a little bit. Um,
That was the year you ran 4:13. So yeah, you could
mhm.
probably go under 4. I would think you gained experience and fitness and yeah.
Yeah. I don't never know like what I'm actually going to do because I don't want to be you never know what's going to happen on race day. Anything can go wrong,
Yeah.
especially for something that long. So I try to stay a little humble and like realistically, I probably can do under 4. Anything above that or faster than that, I'm going to be really happy. And that's
Yeah.
how I felt about Boston qualifying too. Like I went under 4 hours. I want it to feel like a really good race.
Yeah.
And I saw that exactly with my heart rate. Like the last 5 miles, I slowly pushed it and it slowly like started to climb and get harder. But like
Yeah.
literally using all the fuel I had left towards the end. And that's what I would hope for if I decided to do the ascent or the marathon, like just finishing in a really good race and a better time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. I've never done the only time I've ever gone up Pikes Peak all the way. I've done it twice, and it's always been in winter. So I've never gone
Mhm.
up when there's not been snow, and I'd love to go up there. 'Cause I remember my first time.
That's crazy.
My first time was like above 12,000. My legs just felt so dead, like I couldn't move. As we had just moved here, I think we'd only been here like 3 months,
Yeah.
maybe. It wasn't much. And then
Yeah, that's hard.
the last time I did it was December of 23, and I was also snow, but I do remember I could actually run a little bit above 12,000. I could like run and then like walk, run, walk, run, walk.
You've never gotten to see how beautiful A-frame is, like with all the
Yeah, there's always been no. There's always been ton like the first time I
so
did it, you can even see like you could only see like the top of the peak of the roof because the rest of it was under snow.
Oh, no, it's gorgeous, and then water runs through it, and you're like, "This water tastes so good."
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what do you have any other races on the calendar, or is it just Boston? Well, it's not Boston this year, but just the hopes for the Leadville Trail Marathon and then maybe the Ascent this year? Anything registered yet?
Nothing registered. I almost registered for the Garden of the Gods 10 miler, but I was like, I don't want to race that if I get into Leadville. I've learned that I should not do races back to back.
Yeah, because the Leadville, they moved that race. They swapped it now. I think is it now in July?
No,
Or is it
it's
still
June. It's June 28th. So the Garden of God 10 miler is beginning of June. And I
okay.
just don't want to go out all out on a race that I don't truly want to do. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping for the Leadville Marathon, but I could see myself doing one of the Pikes Peak races.
Yeah.
You
What
could
But
you
I
could
don't
come
know.
to Snowball Endure with me and do some
Yeah, you
hiking.
could give me some suggestions, I guess.
Well,
Suggestions.
if you get into Leadville Trail Marathon, let's say at the end of the race, make sure you and your husband stick around because they do give out they do like a random
The
drawing
lottery.
for the lottery for the tokens for the 100. So
So you get a token for the 100 miler.
yeah, are you taking it? Are
Come
you
on.
taking the token? Are you gonna do the 100?
We'll see. I don't know. I didn't think I would actually run Boston, but now I was like, oh, I have a choice. I guess I will. Like,
Yeah.
so if I got into the 100 miler, I could be swayed to run it.
Nice. It is a cool race. It's one of those like just because of the history of it and it's so pretty
Yeah,
that it's worth doing for sure.
I get
Have
it.
you
Man,
have you
100
gone
miles.
around like crewing or anything in like ultra marathon races or volunteering?
Nope, I haven't had that opportunity yet. Yeah, it'd be fun
That's
though.
all right.
Yeah,
So
crewing's
what's on your radar? What things have you looked at and go, maybe someday?
I don't know much. Like, I really don't. I really am just so new to it. It's like someone will mention it, and I'm like, "Huh, that sounds interesting," and then I'll think about it and sign up. So, um, open to suggestions, I guess. I don't
It
know what
sounds
else
like
is out there.
I would say it sounds like if you have done Pikes Peak 3 times, you've done the marathon. You want to do the Leadville Trail Marathon, which is also vert intensive. So it sounds like you like challenging races with lots of elevation gain. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, or if it's gonna be like a road thing, I would wanna go for speed, but I just did that, so that's not something on my radar. I wanna do something that's really cool.
Yeah.
Um not just another little local race. Like I want to do something cool. I do like challenging, I guess. Yeah.
If you want a challenge that's incredibly beautiful, the Beaverhead series, it's a Beaverhead. They do a 100K, and I think they also do a 60K. Might be a 50, but I think it's a 60K. It's in Idaho, but it is gorgeous. It's on the Continental Divide Trail.
It's why we moved.
It's one of the reasons we moved to Colorado. Like we fell in love with the mountains out here. It's just incredibly beautiful. It gets up above 10,000 feet. It's awesome. I would recommend checking that out. It's challenging. It's a tough course, but it's fun. It's
That is
so
the
great.
Beaver Trail races.
The Beaverhead 100K is the
Beaver.
one it's
Okay.
I think the other race is it's a 50 or a 60K, but yeah, Beaverhead. It's in Salmon, Idaho, which is middle of nowhere, Idaho, but it's gorgeous.
Okay. I have to look
Yeah.
at it.
And if you want a really crazy vert race that's not pretty, but just grueling and gruesome and will tear you up, you could always do the Barkley Fall Classic.
No, okay. I did learn that this like probably 6 months ago what that was. I was like, that sounds nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to live near there. That's where we used to live.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, what you mentioned doing some different speed workouts from this training plan that your friend had. Maybe what is like your favorite workout that you've done, whether it's a long run with some of those surges in there, those tempo runs, or maybe the Yasso 800s, or what's kind of your favorite go-to workout?
I do like runs with some speed work in it. Like obviously like the Yasso 800s are really, really hard.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. um because it was really hard, but I do like a run where there's like some speed work thrown into it, like strides or something, because it just changes up the run a little bit to where I'm not like running 10 miles easy.
Yeah.
Like I did do a lot of the runs midweek by myself for this training plan, just because of my schedule. I had to work it in between like work and kids and drop off. So the friends that were doing the race with me, the Mount Charleston race, they have older kids, so that go to school all day, so they or don't have kids, so they were able to do it like right after drop off. While my son goes to afternoon pre-K, so I did most of the midweek runs by myself. There was this one run while it was awful. It was so awful. It was so exhausting. She had us do ladders up, and then at the end we had to do five. I'm trying to remember. I think it was 1 minute, no, 1 or 2 minute hill sprints up the hill. It was a 6% grade hill, 5% grade, 5 or 6 is Dublin Hill. That one was really, really hard because after the ladders, I did not want to go uphill. Like
I imagine so.
but I did 4 and that was 2 minutes. That's why. It was 5 2-minute uphills at the end, and I did 4 and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna finish number 5." And I quit after 1 minute and 20 seconds. I was like, "Never mind. That's good enough."
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
What is there like a workout that you just like hate doing? Probably that ladder one with the uphill at the end, you know?
Yeah, that those were really, really hard. But you feel very accomplished, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, I like the challenge of something. I really like seeing the results of something I did, and it's like being kind of proud of it almost.
Yeah.
Because like as a mom, you can be like very proud of your kids, but quite often it's like a lot of work that goes unseen and unappreciated. But I love my children, so I do it all. But with running, I get that instant like gratification, like I just did that. Or look how fast I was up that hill. So now that my husband's training, I was like, go run up that hill. Let me know how you do. And then we compare. I was like, I was faster. It was like fun. Or he was faster. Or I would look at his heart rate and I'm like, you didn't push it hard enough. Like, look at my heart rate. Like,
Yeah.
You're a Strava segment chaser, aren't you? I think I've heard you say that before.
but a little bit. If I'm doing speed work and I just happen to know there's a segment, I'm like, well, I might as well just take the crown. So
Gotta go for it.
yeah, I think it's fun because it's another one of those things. I know someone much faster will come around and take it back, but that's kind of the fun and the joy of running, right? Like you
Yeah.
get to take a little bit of the crown or you come in second and it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally. I think that's one of the best things I love about running is not necessarily segment hunting, but is the being able to look back at your own running over the years and seeing your like quantitative improvement because you can see that you ran this half marathon when you first started in this pace, and now you can do it in this pace, and you can run further and longer, and like you can see that progression. It's hard to see it in the moment. Like you might think like right now you're kind of like plateaued or not doing well, but then like in the long haul, when you look back, you can see, wow, I have gone so much further than I used to. And
Hmm.
I just love that about running in general. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in the season where I am chasing hard things, like faster or a certain, I don't know, certain pace with so much vertical gain, just something really hard, maybe one day a 100 miler. But I know there will also come a season where I'm like, I don't want to do that. I just want to run for fun.
Yeah.
And I do have fun with all of those, but right now I'm still on this like I love seeing all of it, all those races and those accomplishments. It's fun to me. However hard in the moment, it's really cool.
Yeah. Totally. Oh, I get that. I love hard thing is I've always sought out hard races because it's just, I don't know. You get to this place where you're suffering, you're really digging through and you get through it, you're done. You get that massive, uh, I totally lost my train of thought. That accomplishment at the
Mhm.
end where you can look back at you did this. It's pretty cool. Pretty special. Well,
Yes.
what have you ever had like a you were talking about kids earlier. Have you ever had like a toddler style meltdown on a long run, a trail run, where just maybe something just didn't grow right and you just threw your pack on the ground, something, who knows?
Um, Not yet. I'm sure that will come though. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of trail, I guess, recently. Um, I had to take a little bit of a break with my plantar fasciitis after like a couple.
Yeah.
I did that ultra marathon and then I went and did another 50K stupidly like 2 months later to run it with a friend. And so I haven't done a lot of long runs. There was even, no, not yet. Maybe one day.
So like Ultra Signup didn't show that other race. So what was the other 50K that you did?
Um, it was put on by Human Race Potential
Yeah, human
or
potential.
Human Potential Racing. Yeah, it was up there. I forget what park it was, but it was a good one too. That one took a lot longer. Um, we were going a little bit slower. We both had plantar fasciitis and we were both struggling.
Yeah.
But we did finish strong.
Okay. Have
Towards
you
the
done
end.
other ultras or is it just those two?
Just those two.
Okay. That's okay. Well,
Yeah.
back to the kids a little bit too, like you've been pushing them in strollers, they've been seeing you training, so much, doing all this. Like, how do you hope that your kids like see your running journey?
Um, One of the biggest things that I think about as adults is that with kids, we always tell them to do hard things, or be a little bit stronger. Like,
Yeah.
I know that hurts, but I know how strong you are and you can still push through it. So I hope I kind of set the example, especially for my daughter, um, that women are strong. We are way stronger than I think a lot of people give us credit for. I'm a pretty strong feminist of like, I don't want my daughter to feel limited just because she's a female. Like you're
Right.
supposed to be slower or whatever. It's like we I want to set the example for her that she can do hard things. And I do this really hard thing that I push through when it's hurting or painful. Because, like, after my race, my legs were really sore this past one. I literally was using my suitcase through the airport as like a cane, like bent over. And my kids were like trying to hop on my lap. I was like, no, mommy's legs hurt. Like, I did this really hard thing. So I was like explaining to them because they didn't come with me. Like mommy did this really hard race, so my legs are really sore. And then so my daughter will she's the sweetest. She'll put her hand on me. She goes, "Mommy, I'm so proud of you." Um, but it's just, I love that I get to do something new so late in life that I had no idea I would enjoy or love. And they see me putting in the hard work. They see me running, and especially my son doesn't realize it, but I know my daughter's starting to catch on that like I'm working towards this goal and I'm trying to reach for it regardless if I fail or I succeed, I'm still going to keep trying. And
Yeah.
that's a big thing I tell my daughter, like, you can do this really hard thing and all you have to do is keep trying. Even if you mess up or make a mistake or you fail the test, all you have to do is try it again. And if you like a math problem, almost like if you don't understand it, if you give up, you're not going to understand it. But if you try again, then you get the chance to learn it. And
Yeah.
so by keep doing things, seeing me like push through plantar fasciitis for almost a year, that it was very, very frustrating for me. I kind of hit a low point after that, but I mean, I came out on the other side. Now I Boston qualified by not giving up on it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's a lot of good lessons in running that can translate. That's one of the things I was going to ask is like, what's maybe one thing in your running that you feel makes you a better mom?
Um,
Maybe you might have already just answered it too, is kind of that pushing through, like, you know?
yeah. Yeah.
Or
Yeah, I
maybe
think just pushing through.
yeah, maybe the opposite of that too is like, what's something from being a mom that you think makes you more mentally resilient, like for running or for in ultras or just in those hard moments?
Yeah. So I had both my kids naturally. Actually, my son was born at home in the bathtub. So just those kind of milestones where I realized like I'm not limited to what the world says I can or can't do.
Right.
I even got into doing a little bit of weights, so I could never do like even a pull up before, and now I can. And it's like it's incredible to me that for the longest time I just didn't try these things because I thought I was a girl, like men work out, men do weights. I had no desire about it, and now it's like, no, you can. All you have to do is try. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what you mentioned you're pretty strong feminist and you want your daughter to not be limited because she's a female. What is there a female athlete out there that like inspires you personally, like right now in the ultra world or the trail running world, or maybe it's road running scene, or maybe it's not even running? Like, who is your biggest inspiration?
You know, that's a hard one. There's a lot of them.
There's
I
too
can
many of
kind of, I know, I can really stalk people too. Like, I've even stalked like David Roach's wife. I think her name's
them.
Megan.
Yeah. Yep.
I was like, wow, look at her. Like, she's bicycling and she's pregnant. Like, there's a lot of records out there, I think, from really credible women that have done really big races, or I think her name's Allie that holds like the incline record too.
Oh yeah, Allie McDonald.
She's
Yeah.
incredible too. But honestly, I think it's mm, people that really inspire me are the people that start running. Like, not
Yeah.
really the big people. It's like, I just had a friend saying that she's signed up for a 5K and she's never ran, she's never done a race. I'm like, that's the inspiring thing, is to start something,
Yeah.
because it gets better from there. Um, I think all these awesome racers and runners like Allie are incredible still, but it's even, I feel like, harder to be running a 6-hour marathon when it's flat,
Yeah.
like to be at the back of the pack, but keep doing it and not give up. It's like that's the incredible, that's the hard thing to me.
Yeah. We just talked about that in a podcast
Yeah.
about
You asked me about like who the top runners at Western States was, and I was like, I'm just watching the golden hour because that's the best part of the whole race, you know?
but like hell yeah, those people that are running that maybe it's a 9-hour 50K and that's the cutoff versus somebody running a 4-hour, 5-hour 50K.
I ran a 9-hour.
I know, but I'm saying
50K.
like They're out there twice.
I
They're out there twice as long. They're pushing through even more difficult
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
That is inspiring. It's like they're pushing, grinding. You know.
Yeah. I laughed like Jim Walmsley probably doesn't even know what a headlamp is. Like, never had to run through the night. Well, he did UTMB, but
Yeah.
never had to run through the night. Like,
yeah. That's how I felt about for when I qualified, because I mean it was 3 hours and 22 minutes. So I was like, I knew it was going to be a shorter race, but I was thinking about all those people like still coming in when it got windy and hotter. I'm like, wow, like they're still pushing through. They didn't give up. They kept going. And I saw several people that were walking during my race, and they just kept walking, running, walk, running, walk. And I'm like, they're pushing through some of the hardest things right now to not give up versus, I mean, and you always have those really elites that are just awesome, but I'm like, back of the Packers. They have like all my respect.
Yeah. Well, I guess probably maybe the last question I'll ask here is, if you've only been running now for 3 years, but if you could go back and give yourself, a piece of advice for running, what would it be? Maybe help someone else out there that's looking at starting running, or what's a piece of advice you would give your younger self?
I think to strength train from the get-go. I didn't start that. Trying to think when I started. I think a year and a half in, I started strength training some. Or maybe a little bit after a year. But if I had strength trained, I think people think you can put on this muscle, or if you do a pull-up or push-ups and core stuff. But I think that made me really strong this past race, because I remember I did the Colorado Springs Marathon before this race. So I guess, I did another road race. And that one, I wouldn't be surprised if my pictures, like I was slouching and really like just horrible form, like really horrible form. But with all the weights that I've been doing, you looked over at Valid.
No, no.
No, but with the weights that I did, I was very conscious that my back was stronger. So I was able to hold a better form, I feel like. A better, stronger core than I had. Definitely with the weights helped with like the IT band, but it even helped my upper body, I think, be a stronger runner this past time.
Yeah, I think that's like huge. That's probably the thing that most runners could see the most improvement from, is if they would strength train. Like, runners tend to think, oh, I could do an hour in the gym, or I could go run 7 miles. Like, oh, they're going to go run 7 miles. They're going to pick that every, 90% of the time. But if they would go out and strength train, I think there's so much improvement that people can see, and not just injury prevention, but like you said, form, mechanics, like all of this is just going to be so much better. Like,
that's what I'm hoping for.
get out there and strength train, runners.
I just started strength training like
It's been probably maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah, I used to do like the little 5-minute,
15-minute talk. Yeah.
So now I really got into like an hour long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I've got her lifting.
Lifting. I can't do my own pull up yet. I'm getting there.
That was a big milestone for me. Like, I did 1 pull-up. Like, that was so cool. And then I was like, I did 2 pull-ups. But I think for women it's more mental than it is like physical, like to get past that first pull-up.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that.
You'll get
there. I fully believe you'll get there, Valen.
Oh, 100%.
I used to be able, when I was in the Army, I could do 3 pull-ups. And that was impressive to people back then.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, Priscilla, it's been fun chatting and hearing about your running journey and training as a mom and just qualifying for Boston, for everything. And I hope you get in. I hope that buffer is enough. You're in Boston. Yeah, I hope you get into the Leadville Trail Marathon. I'd love to see you crush that. If you or your husband have questions about it, shoot us a message. I ran it. I'd be happy to answer any questions or whatever. But fun race. So just wish you the best and hope the PF stays away.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. It was really fun talking about running.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Adventure Jogger, please consider joining our Patreon and be sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok for more content like this. Without your continued support, we would not be able to produce this type of content. So thank you so much to everyone that has listened, followed along, subscribed, liked, commented, you name it, donated on Patreon. Thank you.